This is the Powermaster high output alternator. Powermaster sells. This is the hairpin style. It's not the normal style. They use a different type of winding. Some people call it the hairpin. And it's almost like having an alternator inside an alternator, and it gives you a lot more output than a normal alternator. This is model number 48550. And they're claiming that at idle, it puts out up to 140 amps at idle. Okay, so the bottom pulley here, this is the LS swap in my 1981 Jeep CJ. Yes, it really is an old Jeep with a 5.3 engine in it. So when I run this, when I run the engine, what I'm doing is come over here. I've got my ammeter set up, and I can read the amps that are coming from the alternator into the battery. And I can turn on things and turn off things that use electrical current, and then you can see how much amps you're pulling while the engine is running. Then in addition to that, I have an inverter hooked up, and I have temporarily set up a heat gun. So I can really load up. I can really load up the electrical system and see if this machine can do what they say it can do. They're telling me that at idle, which my engine idles at 700, which means my alternator's running about 2100, and that at idle it'll put out up to 140 amps. So we're gonna see if that actually works. So when the engine's running with no other electrical users, just the engine and the electric fuel pump, you can see, somewhere between 10 and 11 amps. But that's to run the fuel pump and the computer and the spark plugs and that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this inverter. I'm going to turn this sucker on high. You can hear it load up the engine, and I'm pulling 108 amps right now with that gun running. And when my fan kicks on, I got an electric fan. When that fan kicks on, it'll be even more. Let's turn on some headlights, see what happens. So now we got the headlights on. And I'm making 120 amps. Let's turn on the fog lights. Turn on the fog lights. One of my fog lights is out. Got to change the bulb. I'm now at about 140 amps. 140 amps right now at idle. The only thing I'm worried about is the heat on that alternator. I did check it earlier. At 140 amps, it was really cooking. It got up to about 270 F. So this is just a quick chart to show you with the engine running, with nothing else, just the engine running, it takes 11 amps to run that engine. If my radiator fan kicks in, that's 22 more amps. So it takes a total of 33 to run the engine and the fan. The headlights by themselves take 14. Fog light by itself takes 17. Heater blower takes 5. So when I was pulling 135, I got it up to 140, but at one point I was pulling 135 amps and my heat gun got all the way up to 275. That was on this portion of the alternator, and that sucker is hot. Sucker show. So I don't know if that's too hot. Maybe somebody can leave a link in the comments and tell me if that alternator is running too hot. If that's okay, if that temperature is okay, then this thing is working exactly as advertised, and I would be very happy with it, because the whole intent is that I want to be able to drive the Jeep and charge my trailer batteries at the same time. So I should have plenty of electrical power to run the engine and the headlights and the radiator fan and charge the batteries on the camper. Somebody tell me, how hot is a hot alternator?